So starting off with some vocabulary, the words average rate of change is synonymous with slope. Okay, it just means the same thing. So slope, average rate of change, and subtracting the y's over subtracting the x's, all the same. So since they asked me to find the average rate of change, I know they're asking me to find slope. And then that is that moment where you're like, okay, if I'm gonna find slope, I need 2 points. So where am I gonna get my 2 points? It says find the average rate of change of this function from x equals 1 to x equals 4. So I know the x's, but I need 2 full coordinates. So we need to substitute the x into the equation so that we have the complete coordinate. And then we need to substitute this x into my equation so that I have my second point. Okay, so x equals 1. I'm going to go into the g function, which was negative x squared plus 3x plus 2, and I'm going to replace the x's with 1. So if I make that substitution, this again is not multiplication, this just says go to the g function and evaluate it at 1. So g of 1, we have negative 1 squared plus 3 times 1 plus 2. Order of operations, we would do exponents first, but sometimes I'm finding you guys are making a sign error. So maybe expand that. The negative out front means negative 1. And then what's being squared is that 1. So just focusing on this piece right here, that is saying negative 1 times 1 times 1. I only have one number that's negative, and if there's an odd amount of numbers negative, my answer is negative. So 1 negative, I know my answer is negative, and 1 times 1 is 1 times 1 is 1. So this first part is equal to negative 1. Then I'm going to do the multiplication next. 3 times 1 is 3. Then we can go ahead and combine there. Negative 1 and 3 make 2, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So what we just found is the full point 1 comma 4. Now we're going to repeat that again. I'm going to put in 4 this time. So if I substitute in 4 into this, I'm going to have, make sure you put sets of parentheses where the x's used to be. So g of 4 is negative 1 times 4 squared plus 3 times 4 plus 2. If you want, you can do 4 squared first and then multiply by negative 1. If you want to, you can expand just to emphasize that this means negative 1 times 4 times 4. Okay, so this is negative 16. And then I still have the 3 times 4 plus 2. Okay, multiplication, 3 times 4 is 12. Negative 16 and 12 make negative 4, and negative 4 and 2 make negative 2. So we just found when I plug in 4, I get out negative 2. Okay, so I started knowing I wanted the slope from 1 to 4, so I plugged in 1 and got a full coordinate, plugged in 4 and got the other point, and now I'm ready to find my slope by subtracting the y's over subtracting the x's. So I went with negative 2 first, so I started with this one. So I have negative 2 minus 4. And now when I subtract the x's, since I started with negative 2, I need to start with 4. So 4 minus 1. Okay, so negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. 4 minus 1 is 3. And negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. So the average rate of change is negative 2.